Guys, so what we have here and what we're trying to do is right here, stop developer control. This affects every aspect of our government, and we want to recognize how it's happening, where it's happening, and believe it or not, we need a lot of different people. It's we the people that have to be eternally vigilant against the tyranny that comes through development and corruption of all kinds. So that's why we're here. That's what we're going to be talking about. I'll be emceeing tonight. I'll be asking questions. And in the beginning, we're going to have a bunch of citizen activists. I'm just looking around. I'm like, wait, we're supposed to have 5. Okay, we're good. And we're going to be asking questions about people who have been in the fight against the developers and against the developer control. It's not that we don't want development. Development's going to happen, and there's going to be building, but what we're not comfortable with is the corruption of our government in the process. And so these people have become leaders, and I guarantee you when you talk to each one of them, none of them wanted to be leaders. They wanted the government just to do its job, but they have to step up. So thank you to everybody that's up here, and if you could just go ahead and grab a mic and everybody introduce themselves, and I'll introduce John Soucy as well.
Okay. I'm Connie Bruni. I'm the president of Sarasota MAGA Patriots in Sarasota. I live in Englewood.
I'm Stillman, been in Manatee County for a long time, one wife, 9 children, trying to raise them in this government. So hopefully, I had to get involved, like we said. I didn't want to get involved. I thought we were electing people that looked out for us. Found out that's not the case.
Hi, my name's Lindsay Lee. I live in Mayaca City. I am a homeschool mom of 4. Like I said, not interested in taking on this role, but also recognizing that it is our job as citizens to do our due diligence. I'm Heidi Lynn on Facebook, but I'm Heidi Minikheim really. I live in Mayaca City, and like Lindsay said, we never ever really wanted to take on this job, but nobody was standing up for Mayaca City, and we will not be bulldozed over, and I will fight to the end.
And we've got one other, John Soucy. If you could stand up and just introduce yourself, and we'll be hitting you last, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm John Soucy, publisher of
At the top of the mic.
I'm John Soucy, publisher of Sarasota Phoenix. Been involved in this thing ever since I came back from Boston for over 20 years. It's the most corrupt political scene I've ever been involved with. Headed by Pat Neal. I can go on and on and talk about it, but I'm glad to be here and give my voice to you people and explain what's going on in Sarasota and Manatee County.
And we'll probably get back to you in about like 20 minutes, is my guess, John.
Got bad knees, too much basketball.
Sarasota Phoenix, if you guys haven't checked it out, it's very informative, and you're not gonna, what he publishes, you're not gonna hear in the Sarasota Herald Tribune. I guarantee you that if you want to know what the real scoop is and recognize what the levers that are being pulled behind the scenes, follow John Soucy. So, Andrew, if you could get us started, tell us a little bit more. You've got some words prepared, and let's go from there.
I do. Anybody that knows me knows that I'll just talk for too long. So I do want to convey one message, so if you'll bear with me. Concerned citizen, Andrew Stillman. I've lived in Manatee County since the 7th grade, so a few decades. When I was asked to speak here tonight, I tried to imagine how this country was created. The founding fathers just Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry. Our founding fathers had just overthrown a tyrannical government, put a king at the top, his enforcers were just beneath him, and the citizens were always dead last. So the founding fathers knew exactly what unchecked government looked like because they lived under it. So when they built this country, they turned things around. They created a government that derived its power from the people, a government that protected our God-given rights instead of pretending to grant them, a government that answered to the people. Somewhere over the past 250 years, we've turned that upside down. Today, too many people fear their own government. They're afraid of law enforcement, code enforcement. They're afraid that speaking up will put a target on their back. Think about that. In a free society, who is supposed to fear Who? Should citizens fear the government, or should the government officials fear violating the rights of the citizens who hired them?
Amen.
I've had several government employees privately reach out to me and thank me for speaking out because they're afraid to do it themselves. Government was created to serve we the people. Today, too often, government expects to be served. We're constantly told, oh, we live in a free country. Oh, yeah? Try to do some things your grandfather did. Go fishing. Oh, permit. Build a shed. Permit. Sell hot dogs on the corner. Oh, you better get a permit. So everywhere you turn, government has found another way of separating you from your money, your property, and your freedom. We were all born into a system that slowly convinced us government is your master and you are their servants. Well, I'm here to tell you, not anymore. I refuse to stay silent. Government works for us, not developers. Government answers to us, not developers. Government derives its authority from us, not developers. It seems our government has forgotten that. Our government has forgotten who it works for. We, the people, not developers. The founders wisely dispersed political power among the people. I don't think they fought a revolution just to see it concentrated around one dining room table. And to those of you that think of seeking public office, remember this. The measure of a leader isn't how many wealthy donors you have, it's whether ordinary people feel represented by your actions. So if your desire is to represent big money, make sure you're only at their ballrooms. But if it's to represent the people, I'll see you on the soccer field. Government's appetite for growth is insatiable. No amount of power is ever enough. Every year it's another code, another regulation, another ordinance, another reason government needs more control over your life. Let me ask you this. Which foreign government is oppressing you? Yeah, same here. None. Our own government burdens us on a daily basis, and they call it freedom. To every elected official, every bureaucrat, every regulator, every government employee collecting a paycheck, you are not my master. You are my public servant, and I will only vote for men and women who understand that the first duty is to defend we the people, even when the threats of our rights come from our own government itself. Government exists because of we the people. We the people do not exist because of government. Our founders gave us a government that answered to the people. The least we can do is pass that on to our children. Because the Constitution wasn't written to protect government from the people, it was written to protect people from the government.
Amen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. This is the spirit of 1776. This is the spirit of we the people taking back our government, because it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And the only authority that they have is from the consent of the governed. We're not consenting to relinquish all controls to developers. So tell me how you recognized, Andrew, if I could ask you a couple questions.
Ouch.
This is just Andrew right there. That's such a good speech. Such a good speech. I love it. So tell me how you recognized and started to recognize some of these encroachments, and specifically of the developers.
Well, when I moved, there we go. Sorry about that. Let me turn that up a little bit. I moved my kids out there. We moved out to the country in 2018, and it was wonderful. It was quiet. I know you're not going to believe this, but the weekends were twice as long for whatever reason. And then I wake up 6 years later, all of a sudden I got 1,700 apartments down the street from me. The golf course behind me was turned into another cookie cutter HOA setup. I can't get through the red light. I got to sit through the red light 17 times just to get through. I'm like, this is encroaching on my right to freedom. So it seems like these people have the speed dial to everybody that works for government. And I say works for government for a reason, because they don't work for you. They don't work for me. And anytime you try to get them on the phone, you're not powerful enough. You don't have a donation check. So, and then when you go to a county commissioner meeting and try to call them out on it, they say, your time's up. Get this guy out of here. No clapping. That kind of nonsense. Forgive me.
That's good. Also, you tied this back earlier when we were talking about the right to life that is actually endangered, especially in East County.
Okay,
And
so
and just
no,
period.
I'll touch on that. So I try to look at things through the lens of the Constitution as far as what the government should be doing. So when I'm hearing people out east, their wells are running dry, and I'm talking about wells that have been going for 80, 90 years, all of a sudden their well's running dry and they can't feed their animals and they can't grow their crops, that's a huge infringement on their right to life. So that's the most important thing that government should be defending. They're not. They don't care as long as the developer's check comes in to finance their campaign and send, 17 flyers to your house that cost, thousands and thousands of dollars, and then try to convince the public this is the guy to vote for. No offense, but when you get 7 flyers from one guy, don't vote for that guy. Okay? And if you look at the return address, it's never Manatee County. It's never Sarasota. It's always Tallahassee, DC. I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? So they will tell you who they are. You just got to look for it. So if you're getting all those flyers and you see their ads everywhere, cross them off your list. If they'll show up to a debate, then you can listen to what they say. But we have so many people running for office right now that their handlers are telling them, hey, stay in the basement like Basement Biden did in 2020. We got this. You don't even need to go out and debate. You don't need to say anything to anybody. We got it under control. And they're hoodwinking the public because the public, well, I saw that guy on TV. Yeah, why isn't he out debating? And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Like Crothers.
Exactly. I don't know who that Crothers is, but don't vote for that guy. Sounds like a jerk. I know.
Try those brochures coming from Wyoming.
Yep.
Oh my, see, there you go. Now listen, I have to preface this. The reason I am a citizen, he called me an activist, but I don't get paid for my opinion, so I'm just a citizen. I've got one wife, I've got 9 children, I'm trying to raise them correctly, I'm trying to run a business. I did not want to get, he said it right, I did not want to get involved. I naively believed, and I'm sure we've all been there, we're like, oh, I voted for this guy. He's going to go represent me. Wrong. He don't represent you. You can't get him on the phone. His email will not come back to you. And when you say, hey, you're going to protect my constitutional rights, all of a sudden, he's a ghost man. So speaking of that, where is Mike Ron? Anyway, I told you not to get Mike. I will just not stop.
It's good. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. And by the way, I'm not sure if the connections to Wyoming were there, but I encourage citizens, I encourage candidates to call people out by name. Let's not be polite anymore. We need to recognize that there's certain people that are abusing our rights. So if somebody mentions Wyoming, I'm going to mention Jennings DePriest, okay? I just can't help it. Jennings DePriest is running an outfit out of Wyoming. It's not good. Adam Johnson, unfortunately, has, there's a lot of good people. And he might be a good person, I don't know. But he's connected himself with Jennings DePriest, and they're deceiving the public constantly. So anytime I get a chance to call somebody out, I'm going to call them out.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Just a quick question for Andrew. The initial statement that you gave us, read to us, have you published that anywhere?
Get out.
No, seriously.
Listen.
I want it broadcast all over.
Thank you. When I go to speak to the county commissioners, I spend a lot of time because as you're finding out already, my mouth does not stop. Ask my kids, Dad will talk. That's why he has a headset, because he literally drives around and he's talking for hours and hours and hours. Not because I like to hear myself talk. I'm passionate about, we are so far removed on what was normal and correct. No offense, but go look for any, and I'm going to get in trouble right now, I'm telling you this. Go look for anybody running for any office right now. You cannot find the word Constitution on their mailer, on their website. They don't even know what it means. And then, no offense, but I asked some of these people, I say, hey, what's your, oh, well, we all support free speech. Do ya? We don't know that. I don't see evidence of that. And if you go to some of these people's web pages or Facebook pages, they'll turn off the comments, even though, why does that make any sense? I'm not afraid to debate anybody. Yes, I'm not afraid to debate anybody, anytime, anywhere. Not because I'm a tough guy, it's because I believe in what I believe in. And I have a reason for it. So yes, I will pass it to you when you're done. I will tell Eddie, hey, they want to see the speech. But the point is,
It's on
we
video.
should, oh geez, we should be passionate
Kevin
about,
Ryan, calling Andrew, they're on the spot.
We should be passionate about our government. I got 9 kids. You look over there, there's two-thirds of me or something. When I grow up, I don't want to look at my children and say, man, we had a chance to stop some of this stupidity and we didn't. Just look at what it was when we were kids growing up, right? And the other problem we're dealing with, and we don't have any control over that, he will when he gets in Congress, is the Constitution says that gold and silver are money. Now we've got, oh, I've got a piece of paper, this is money. No, it's not. If it was money, it wouldn't be losing value over and over and over. And I'm going to tell you something, the federal government cannot print gold. They've tried, I promise you that. They put a study together, they can't print gold or silver. The founders were not dumb. They're way smarter than people are today. Forgive me.
Yeah, no, that's
Can you
good.
cut my mic off?
You don't even But this is what it's about. People who are passionate and us getting to know each other and hearing from each other and realizing that this is the DNA of America. It's freedom and fighting for freedom and fighting against tyranny. So thank you so much, Andrew. That was awesome. Lindsay, you're up.
All right, I want to see if does this mic work? No?
Tap it.
Yes.
Hello? No? All
It's
right.
lower than Eddie's mic. That's the
We're
good.
going back to this one. Can you hear me out of this one? Okay. I'm like Andrew, and I won't shut up, so I'm going to read. All right, so first I just want to say good evening. Thank you all for being here tonight. One of the things I hear all the time is, how do we fix this? And honestly, I think the better question is, how do you become a part of the solution? When I first met Eddie Spear, what stuck with me wasn't that he had all the answers. It was actually the opposite. He listened, he asked questions, and he was humble enough to look at me and say, wow, I have a lot to learn. That may not sound like much, but in politics, it's actually pretty refreshing. There is no way one person can know every issue that is happening across their entire congressional district. I barely know everything that's happening in Mayaca City, and Heidi and I always talk about how exhausted we are. What matters is finding someone who's willing to learn, willing to listen, and willing to do the work. I'll never forget the first time that I met Eddie. He actually offered to drive me home, not in like a creepy way, but he wanted me to physically show him what was happening in Mayaca City. We drove around, we recorded videos, we talked about development, we talked about a lawsuit that we were currently undergoing, talking about what our family was experiencing, and he wanted to see it with his own eyes instead of just hearing about it. Then he kept calling and kept texting and kept asking questions, not because he had to, but because he genuinely wanted to understand. And that's what stood out to me. But tonight is not just about Eddie. It is about every grassroots candidate who's willing to step away from their business, their families, and their normal lives because they believe that our community deserves better. And it is also about us as citizens in this room, because here's the truth. Voting is not the finish line, it is the starting line. For far too long, we have elected people and assumed that they take care of everything, and then years later, we wonder how things changed without us having a voice. Our elected officials aren't kings, they aren't celebrities, and I don't even call them leaders, I call them representatives. I think of it like a sports team. We choose a captain, but the captain doesn't win the game alone. The entire team has to show up, communicate, work together, and stay engaged. And that's exactly how government should work. So yes, please vote, but then stay involved. Hold these people accountable. Bring concerns, but also bring ideas and solutions. Anyone can point out problems and complain. Communities move forward when people start working together towards solutions. And if you can't donate to a campaign, I always tell people that's okay. Share a post, volunteer, talk to your neighbors, have the conversations that everyone says that we're not supposed to have. Because change doesn't begin in Washington. It begins right here in our neighborhood, in our county, and in our community. And if we want a different future for our children, like Andrew said, then we have to become different citizens. Thank you.
vigilance against tyranny. And you've been vigilant against tyranny. Could you tell me a little bit about your struggle there out in Mayaca City?
Sure. So a little over a year ago, Heidi and I actually live in the same neighborhood, and it was brought to our attention that another rezone was happening in Mayaca City. Where we live, it's one house per 5 acres, or that's how it's supposed to be. And they were trying to rezone a community, and we decided that we were going to speak out. And we're pretty extra, so we don't just speak out. We ordered yard signs that said "Say No to Rezone" and laced Mayaca City with them. And we got loud, and the louder we got, the more that came to my door. And what ended up coming to our door was a lawsuit to silence me. And the developer wanted to sue our blue-collar family. He's a multi-millionaire developer. Wanted to sue our family, basically for just speaking out against his project and putting a negative light on his project. And in that, what I learned was that the government doesn't have my back. Speaking of Mike Ron, where's Mike Ron? Anyways, speaking of Mike Ron, he is not our county commissioner. The late Carol Ann Feltz was our commissioner at the time, and Mike actually went behind Carol's back and went directly to the state attorney and had the state attorney issue a stand-down letter to Manatee County. So the more involved and the louder we got and the more we pushed back against this development, the more we started to unlayer the depths of corruption within Manatee County.
So tell me what a stand-down letter is.
So the stand-down letter was, so what happened, the project kind of was like an onion. It was like we saw this tiny flaw, and then we just kept peeling away and realizing that there was a plethora of code violation, no permits on the project because it's like in the middle of Mayaca City, right? No one's going out there to babysit. And so when we started bringing all those things to the attention of the board, they kind of just, they blatantly ignored us, first of all, but then when the state attorney's letter basically said that Manatee County needed to stop issuing code violations to them, and that they were allowed to basically do whatever they wanted under the guise of agro-tourism. And that's a whole nother can of worms that I'm not going to open up tonight, but the agro-tourism allows them to continue to strip our agricultural land away from us as long as they're building something that's open to the public and is super cool, like a private golf course that they have coined as the 8th wonder of the world.
So did you guys get that? The private golf course. So when you hear public-private partnership, just be concerned. It's the best way I can say it. Just be concerned because it's public use, but it's a private golf course. So that's the auspice. And I'm just going to bring up James Buchanan and Joe Gruters in what they just did with the Benderson Boathouse by taking $10 million of your money.
Yep.
And they gave it to the Benderson Boathouse under the guise of a storm shelter. A storm shelter that's on an island that's already flooded. Makes no sense for a storm shelter.
Oh my God.
So that's what they're doing. This public-private type of partnership. And I wish I could tell you this is where to look. This is where to look. It takes eternal vigilance to recognize all the lawfare, and it's lawfare too, that they're suing a citizen. Are you kidding me? Let alone what happened to, what's her name, who called out the dog kennels? What's her name?
Oh, Julie Madison?
Julie Madison. All of a sudden she's going, and now she's got a felony trespass. And what happened with that, by the way?
It's got this development going.
Not good, not good. Real quick.
I was watching a live stream of the planning commission for Sarasota County a few weeks ago, and they approved I think it was 13. No, it was it's 300,000, 3,000 acres, past Lakewood Ranch, and we're actually they want us to pay for the roads for that. It's like $80 million.
Yeah. I don't know the details on that just yet, but thank you for bringing it up. And this is what we do. Let's pay attention. Somebody find out what's going on there, and let's make sure that we hold our government accountable. So thank you, Lindsay, for stepping up, getting sued, standing for us. This is what it takes. Thank you, Lindsay. Way to get sued. Good job. All right, Heidi.
Okay, as I said before, I'm actually a transplant from New York State, but I'm not one of those transplants. I'm from upstate. So I moved to Florida about 14 years ago, and I left all my horses and everything in our big farm up in New York State, and we kind of moved down the state, and we ended up in Palm Air. We were the youngest couple at the age of 43 and 46. We were the youngest couples. And we knew we had to move. When your pickup trucks don't fit in the driveway, you got to move out of there. So everybody kept saying, go to this place called Myakka City. Drive down Fruitville Road. Just keep going. There's lots of farmland for sale. So found Myakka City. We rented our first house. My parents came down, bought a house in Myakka City, and then we got out of renting and purchased our house. We are agricultural people. We run cattle, we run horses. I've shown quarter horse nationally for my whole life up until probably like 15 years ago. My daughter has a guided trail ride business, and she runs cattle, and her in-laws all run cattle. So we moved to Myakka City, and that's when I met Carol Feltz, our county commissioner, who unexpectedly passed away. And that's when I got into the fight when they started moving the FDAB line. And I know a lot of people live in the city and you kind of don't understand our way. I'm an agricultural person, so you kind of don't understand our way of life, but we are lifted truck, black coal rolling, and we are cows, and we're cracker whippers.
Can I pause you real quick right there? Because what I want to do in this situation is recognize and try to educate as many people as possible what FDAB means, right? Because this is one of the mechanisms that developers use on a constant basis to push the boundaries, to rezone, and to develop more and more. So could you describe FDAB?
So the FDAB is a imaginary line, a line that the county has written. I think 1989 was, I think, the first year it was put in there. It's a future development area boundary. So that means in Myakka City, we're one house per 5 acres, and everything in the city, you're all on postage stamps, so out that way. We're not. So they started moving the line. They've moved the line twice, and that meant cluster housing, and that infringes on our way of life. But not only that, there's this word called contiguous, and the county loves this word. Developers love this word. So once they start rezoning one house per less than 5 acres, say there's an acre and they put 30 houses on it, and then there's another piece of property that comes for sale next to that development, and the developer buys it, they can go in for a rezone, and it becomes contiguous. So it pretty much gets rubber stamped, so there's no stopping the encroachment of the development. And not only with that, we have no water out east. My well is running low. On our Facebook page for Myakka City, every day there's somebody on there where their well is running low or has collapsed. And I know a couple well companies, and they're putting new wells in left and right. We do not have enough water for the people that DeSantis invited here through COVID. Yeah, and we have 2 massive golf courses. The Myakka Golf Course with an I, that's in Myakka City with a Y, and the Soleta Golf Course. And it's pinching our river. It's pinching the Myakka River. And we have asked our county commissioners numerous times. Lindsay and I have been in there. Liz has been there. We are trying to get some sort of protections for our river, and they will not give us protections for our river. Lindsay and I live at the bottom of that river, and let me tell you, it floods. We are very concerned that our houses are going to be flooded the next hurricane.
Can I try to explain that real quick? Because when you talk about pinching a river, you said that to me, and I'm like, okay, what's that mean? Basically, you change the topography so that now all of a sudden there's just a choke point in that river. So what's supposed to happen in Florida is there's supposed to be sheet flooding across so that the water can go down and get cleaned up and fill up the aquifer. Does that make sense? But if that doesn't happen, there's a pinch point So there's not sheet flooding that's allowed. It backs up on the river and it backs all the way up to Mayaca City and causes all kinds of problems. And it doesn't fill the aquifer, but it floods a lot of different houses, and a lot of different problems happen because of that. Did I answer that? Did I explain that well?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think
Okay.
of it like an hourglass.
Because I learned it from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is like an hourglass. We did not ask for these golf courses, but unfortunately in Manatee County, golf courses are considered agricultural, so they are a administrative approval. It's a rubber stamp. And that's what we're dealing with. And then we're also dealing with, so the future, the FDAB line. Okay, so we have a new development coming in called Montgomery Ranch. It's on State Road 70. It's before the blinking light. This development is 304 acres and they're putting 52 houses in. These houses are on less than 1 house per 5 acres. The way they're getting into this, the way they're allowed to do this is our comp plan was rewritten by Kimley Horn, who is they're an engineering development, company, whatever. And they work consulting. They work directly with the developers, which are decimating Manatee County. So
can I just mention real quickly with Kimley Horn, because at the Board of County Commissioners, I heard some of the commissioners that were defending it and saying it's a massive company, so there's not a conflict of interest. I don't buy it. There is a conflict of interest because the developers are their customers. And so the more that they can get past and the more that they can push, there's a conflict of interest, and the incentives are all wrong.
Who's
with
one of the
Kimley.
owners of Kimberly Horn?
Well,
Kimley, who is it? You tell me.
Bill Connolly.
County Commissioner Al Mayo.
okay, but Bill Connerly is the vice
Yeah, well,
president.
they're all the same.
Right.
Yelling it together.
This will be my shameless plug for you to vote for John Phillips.
John
He's not here
Phillips.
tonight.
Not shameless at all. Not shameless at all. That's right. We need representatives that are going to actually represent us. Anything else before I got to try to move forward?
I think that's it. Want to hand the mic to Connie?
All right.
Okay.
Awesome. Connie, let her rip.
Well, I came to talk about my voter guide. How many people here are from Sarasota County? Okay, a few. So when somebody says the name Al Mayo, do you know that name from Sarasota County? He's a former county commissioner. I stood in front of the County Board of Commissioners probably 2 weeks ago. No, sorry, 6 weeks ago. Oh my goodness. It was the 2nd of June. 2nd of June. And I said, what's going on here? Is there someone behind the scenes pulling the strings, or are you doing the job? And I wish you could have seen the number of people squirm in their seats. Because the truth is, Al Mayo's pulling the strings behind the scenes. And this other gentleman, yes, I guarantee you, they're pulling the strings. There is huge, huge money on the table. There is a gigantic, inherent conflict of interest, no matter what they try to tell you. So I wanted to talk to you instead of my voter guide, we'll talk about that, we can, about the Live Local Act. And it really is a follow-up on exactly what you're talking about. Doesn't the Live Local Act sound nice?
Nope.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Nope.
As a title, it just sounds really awesome.
Nope.
However, it is a law that was passed in Tallahassee. It is a one-size-fits-all development situation for the entire state. And its purpose, stated purpose, was to bring affordable housing. Unfortunately, what's happening is the developers love this act. Love it. It's their buddy. Because they can go in on empty land without any local permitting or zoning hearings. Nothing. And do what they want to do. Period. As long as it's affordable. You can call it affordable or a schmortable or whatever you want to call it. It's insane. And in Sarasota County, what's happening is that our Board of County Commissioners actually voted in April to resist the developer's desire to expand the definition of what lands would fall under the Live Local Act. The developers want to include ag land and any open use areas. Those are not specified in the law. They are not. So our board, in my opinion, correctly chose to push back. Now, the developers and a church have sued the county, and they have sued each and every one of the county commissioners personally. So, what I want, what I look for in candidates is somebody who's willing to have the guts to do what our Board of County Commissioners did. Yes, they took a risk. Their attorney told them, you are taking a risk in doing this.
I want to explain this.
Go ahead.
Because it's hard to, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy in this? So we want to jump in and say the county commissioner's bad guy. County commissioners here in Sarasota, good guys.
For the most part.
They're fighting actually against, and really what they're doing is they're doing what the citizens demanded,
Yes.
you know, and they're fighting against Tallahassee and the Live Local Act. Manatee County can do the same thing.
Yes.
Hillsboro's doing it, Manatee
Yes.
County's not. A lot of other counties are not. They're just up there, and you guys that have been at Board of County Commissioner meetings, they're famously saying, well, our hands are tied, there's nothing we can do, we just gotta go with it. We don't wanna run into any legal
The devil
liability.
made me
It's not
do
true.
it.
It's unconstitutional, they can't defend this, and some of these counties are fighting, and we need every county to fight against the Live Local Act.
Yes. And I will say, we have one person, we're talking about our voter guide, one person who in Sarasota County is running for the Board of County Commissioners. It's a female, and she said, it's a giant waste of taxpayer money. I think she's 110% wrong. I think it is if you were ever gonna take my money and use it, push back on Tallahassee, that's what I want. Somebody who would be willing to stand up and push back, because local rule, home rule has been eroded and eroded and eroded. Scott and I have lived here, and we escaped from California. He's a third generation dairy farmer, okay? So we understand development, we understand the conversion of agricultural land, we understand all of that. Water, oh boy. People are gonna die. You can have wars over water, seriously. But we need people who are willing to push back. So in this case, that's why our group has endorsed Dr. Joe Nunder and Mark Smith, who are both incumbents. Because people have asked us, why? There's your answer. They pushed back on the Live Local Act. That's what we want, is somebody who's willing to say, enough is enough. So that's where that comes from.
And then we need to support them.
Yes.
Those candidates that are gonna stand up, we need to support them. Keep going. What else you got?
Well, one of the other ones we talked about, when we were in the room prior, we were talking about different folks. And we are in House District 74, okay? Currently the seat is held by James Buchanan, who is running for state senate. Vic Rowe, we have endorsed Vic for a good reason. Because James has not represented the people in his community. In District 74, our group has endorsed Jennifer Winkler. Now, if you meet Jennifer, she's very blonde, very cute, very energetic, and she's unbelievably nice. And I said to her, my biggest concern, she understands all the issues, she answered all of our questions very directly, but she's so nice, I was afraid, we were concerned, because you know what happens? They get taken in the basement when they go up to Tallahassee, beaten about the head and face and told how things are gonna go. And I said, I'm concerned. She says, you don't realize something about me. I'm a lot tougher than people think. I had to fire my own husband twice from my company. Twice. I said, good enough for me. That would not be fun. So that said a lot. But again, there's somebody with a chutzpah to push back. That's what we're really looking for, is folks like Eddie, who are willing to say, we're not going to accept business as usual anymore. So when you get 10 flyers in the mail, like I do every day from these people that are very slick and very lovely, know that they cost about $1.25 a piece, at least. And what they're mailing in Sarasota County, I did the numbers, 95,970 times $1.25. And they're sending you how many mailers?
Every day.
Okay? So think about the money. And who do they owe? Who are they really going to represent? I've been an elected official. I understand campaigning. I've had to take campaign contributions. You have to explain to people. This has to come with no strings attached, or don't give it. Scott knows. Happened to me one time. A person said, well, I gave you XYZ. You should do blah, blah, blah. I said, no. Well, It was a threat of some kind, I can't remember. I sat down and wrote him a check. Give him the money back.
We need more people like that, definitely.
Nothing that is worth your soul. Nothing. So stay true to yourself. So there you go.
Thank you. Here's the good mic.
Where's the good mic?
So let me tell you guys a little bit about John Susi. There's been a couple people that I've just tried to see if anybody sees what I see, and does anybody have the guts to call it out? And this guy doesn't. And then not only does he have the guts to call it out, he's been doing it for years, and he knows where all the bodies are buried. He knows the story and the history. So enjoy.
Okay, my name is John Susi. I'm the publisher of Sarasota Phoenix. I'm one of the two media outlets in the Sarasota, Manatee County, and Fourth and Ship. We're going to this Sarasota Phoenix is very good time. I'm one of the 3 investigative reporters are the best in the Sarasota, Manatee County.
Put
One
your
of them is-
mic closer to your mouth.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, let me go back again.
We have some old ears over there.
So do I. I got the bad knees. I got the 80-year-old knees on me, so I understand. I am the publisher of Sarasota Phoenix, and I just said that that's the only, that and the Barrington Times are the only papers media that are putting out the truth out there. I'm one of the 3 investigative reporters in Sarasota, Manatee that are know where the bodies are buried and who has the shovel that's digging his graves. And that's the Sarasota Barrington Times. That's we're the 2 reporters over there, Kibber and Mitch Mallon. Let me say this. I really enjoy all these people that are talking about what's going on. But the bottom line is this. Unless we elect Eddie Spear and those 4 running for county commission, it's useless. I've been involved in politics in Sarasota County for a long time. A lot of people go up before the boards and they go to meetings and they pack the hall and everything else, and they all get beat. I say to them, you're smart, articulate, you know what's going on, but you have a real problem on how to count to 3. And what I'm saying, there's 5 county commissioners in Sarasota County. Unless you have those 3 votes, all the rest of it's useless. So here in Manatee County, unless you elect the 4 people who are running for county commission, it's all over with. You've got 4 people running, 4 districts. It's a no-brainer. It was Ed Bailey running against Ballard. It's a no-brainer for Glenn running against Ron. If anybody doesn't understand that, I don't know what they're smoking. The other 2 districts got excellent candidates running. The problem is there's a lot of them running. So what you need to do, I have my favorites, but I'm not going to say what they are. What you have to do is do some deep dive and do some digging of who's the most qualified are the ones who can win. And that's obvious who those 2 are. But I could go on and on and on. I could slow down. Eddie brought me here to talk about the judges in the 12th Judicial District.
Hold it up tight.
And about Pat Neal's control over it. How many in this room know that Pat Neal has been picking the judges in the 12th Judicial for over 10, 15 years?
Paying?
Beg pardon?
Is it picking or paying?
I'll tell you how it works.
Yes.
Let me tell you how it works. And unfortunately, the members of the bar in Sarasota County are part of it because they're not saying a word. I hate to say this, but they're fellow attorneys. Because here's what happens. The judges who've been serving about 6 months before their term is up, they retire. So what happens next is that the governor has got to appoint someone to take their place for the next 6 months. So what happens, there's a committee called the 12th Judicial Nominating Committee. And guess who runs it? Pat Neal. Nice. For over 15, 20 years. So I've been to a couple of them, Glenn's been a couple of them. And what happens, they have the meeting, and there's Neal at the head of the table. I've been there a couple of times. And the lawyers come in and they come before the committee and they say their words and all that kind of stuff. And Neal throws everybody out. They sit there and they point who the judges will be to send up to the governor. So they send it up to the governor, and what happens The governor appoints who Pat Neal wants to be elected. So here's the thing about it. Now after you get 6 months before the election,
Hold it up.
6 months before the election, they put on the black road, they put in the fee, they raise $100,000, and nobody runs against it. And that's what's been going on for the last 15 years. And do you see that written in the Sarasota Herald Tribune? Or anything else? The only place it's been written is not printed. Let me say this, I can go on and on, so I gotta slow down, get to what's important to care. There is no Republican or Democratic Party in Sarasota, Manatee County. I don't know what it is in the rest of the country, but it isn't here. The party that runs here in Sarasota County, Manatee County, is Pat Neal's crowd. They run the counties, both of them. There is no Republican Party. Look what they did in Manatee County and what they did to the Republican Party here. But there is no two-party system. And we gotta realize that. And I'll tell you what, some of the things that have been taking place are scandalous, but what they get away with. And we gotta change that. In this election coming up, if you don't win in this election, you're done. I don't care how much you talk about the anti-government and so forth and all. If you don't have representatives up there working for the people, it's finished. You guys did something, the people of Manatee County. You ought to be really proud of yourself. You took on Pat Neal people 40 years ago. You did that, incredible. It's the talk of the state. That's when it came in and took, got your state committee man and woman out, closed down the thing. You did that. Now they're coming back at you. You know Anthony Pettis, you know about him, right? He's suing me. He's been suing me now for the last year and a half by legal fees over $100,000. I'm glad. I can't feel privileged because he's picking me. So that's what he says he thinks about me. He's got to send somebody else in here now to take his place. And the guy's named Max Goodman. He's another political operative. He's running the campaign, the ones that tear us back to before. Well, he's Manatee County, but in Sarasota County. So I can't go on and on, but please, please, go out there and do what you can for this guy. If you don't go out there and bust your butt for him, we're lost. You all here in Manatee County, in this district, have an opportunity to get to a message to Washington, D.C. that you got this guy, a Republican American First people, that took out the wife of Joe Gruters, a former Florida State Senator, and had an NRC. That's nationwide news.